In law, one word can decide who wins. How do lawyers know who decides what that word officially means under the law? Let's learn how legal terms are defined without guessing. In this video, you'll learn what law means in a legal sense and the main sources students and attorneys use to define legal terms. Let's start with one of the most common reference tools. First stop is often a legal dictionary, especially Black's Law Dictionary. It's a major reference tool for law students and lawyers. Black's Law Dictionary defines law as that which is laid down, ordered, or established. That definition is useful, but a dictionary entry is not automatically binding law. So, if the dictionary isn't the final word, who is? In the U.S. legal system, courts, especially higher courts, often play a controlling role in how legal terms are interpreted in real cases. A classic judicial description of law is a body of rules for action or conduct, prescribed by controlling authority, and backed by binding legal force. More generally, laws are rules that a society treats as important and expects people to follow. Governments enforce those rules, and they usually reflect what many people consider fair or necessary. Law and morality often overlap. Acts like stealing or fraud are both illegal and widely viewed as wrong. But not every moral issue is a legal one, and not every legal rule feels moral to everyone. To understand how courts interpret law today, it helps to look at where the system came from. So, where did American law come from? A lot of it traces back to Great Britain. Early colonists brought legal ideas and practices with them, especially the English common law tradition. English common law grew over centuries. It started with local customs, how communities handled disputes, and gradually became more formal as courts developed. A core common law idea is case-by-case decision-making. Judges do not simply invent rules from scratch. They look to earlier similar cases and follow those patterns to maintain consistency. That practice has a name, precedent. Precedent means earlier court decisions help guide how new cases are decided, especially when the facts are similar. Let's see how that works in a simple example. Two neighbors own land side by side. One builds a driveway, but part of it crosses the property line onto the other neighbor's land. Now they disagree. Does the builder acquire any legal right to that strip of land or not? In a common law system, the judge looks for earlier cases involving similar property line disputes. If a prior decision establishes a clear rule, the judge will usually follow it, unless there is a strong reason to distinguish the case. Once courts decide a pattern of cases, people adjust their behavior. Future landowners check surveys more carefully. Builders double-check boundaries. That is how a large body of law grows, one decision at a time. Here's a common misconception. Common law does not mean common sense. It refers to legal rules developed through court decisions over time, based on prior cases and established practices. So far, we've covered how legal definitions often start with reference tools like Black's Law Dictionary. But courts usually control the final meaning in disputes, and common law develops through precedent. Ready to lock it in? Tap the link for study guides and flashcards on this topic, so you can keep learning without missing a beat. But definitions are just the starting point. When people disagree about what a rule requires, courts interpret the words in context. That interpretation can guide future cases, especially in the common law tradition. Let's apply that idea to a different situation. Contracts. Two businesses dispute what delivery means. Does it mean the item was shipped or that it arrived? That single term could determine who breached the agreement. A judge might look at several legitimate sources: legal dictionaries for ordinary meaning, statutes and contract language for governing text, prior cases for how courts have used the term before, and the specific context of the contract and the dispute. Here is a common error: treating one dictionary line as if it ends the analysis. In legal reasoning, dictionary definitions are evidence, not always the final answer. because the controlling meaning depends on authority and context. So, how should you approach a legal definition question? Here's a simple step-by-step method you can use. First, identify the exact term in dispute. Next, check credible definitions. Then, look for controlling authority, such as statutes and court decisions. Finally, apply that meaning to the facts you're given. Put it all together. Dictionaries and textbooks help you start, but binding legal meaning comes from the legal system's controlling authorities, especially courts interpreting rules in real disputes. To recap, legal terms often start with reference tools like Black's Law Dictionary, but courts usually play the final controlling role in disputes. Common law develops through precedent, with new cases guided by earlier ones. Now that you've watched the video, let's see how much you remember. Head to the link in the description, where you'll find Quizlet content made just for you.